Most shoppers are always drawn to legacy brands with their instantly recognizable names. Well, there is a smarter way to spend your money when it comes to a big screen smart TV.
Store employees are literally paid bonuses to push these 7 TV brands on you. But here's what's twisted. The 2 brands they'll actually try to talk you out of buying? Those are the only ones worth your money. And the reason why is borderline criminal. Your parents probably remember Westinghouse as the company that helped electrify America. Power plants, refrigerators, radios, real engineering from real American factories. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that Westinghouse died a long time ago. The TV division got sold off decades ago, and now the name is just a sticker. Literally. Some budget factory in China pays a licensing fee, slaps Westinghouse on the box, and hopes you'll trust it. Because Grandpa did. Here's the thing. These factories have zero connection to the original company. None of the engineers. None of the standards. None of the quality control that made the name mean something in the first place. And the results? Pretty brutal. Consumer Reports tested these TVs and found failure rates nearly triple the industry average. We're talking screens dying within 18 months, remotes that randomly stop working, software that never sees a single update. The picture quality isn't great either. Even fresh out of the box, the image looks washed out and flat. Why? Because they're using bottom-tier LED panels that the major manufacturers rejected. You're basically getting the leftovers. I actually saw one at a friend's house last year. He was so proud of the deal he got. 4 months later, he was shopping for a replacement. Buying a Westinghouse today is like ordering a Rolex from a guy on the street corner. Sure, it says the right name, but you know what you're actually getting. The worst part? Westinghouse isn't even the sneakiest brand playing this game. There's another one hiding right inside America's biggest electronics store, and most people have no idea what they're really buying. All right, so you walk into Best Buy looking for a deal, and there it is, an Insignia TV sitting pretty at a price that seems too good to pass up. Here's the thing. Insignia is Best Buy's house brand, which sounds fine until you realize what that actually means. They don't make these TVs themselves. They contract out to whoever bids the lowest that quarter. So the Insignia you buy in March might come from a completely different factory than the one your neighbor bought in September. Same model number, different guts. It's like ordering a burger and having no idea which restaurant is actually cooking it. And those guts? Often refurbished components. Last-generation processors that wheeze and chug when you try to load Netflix. I've seen these things take 15 seconds just to open YouTube. My grandmother moves faster than that, and she's 83. A 2023 repair industry survey found something interesting. Insignia TVs were brought in for service 40% more often than Samsung or LG models in the same price bracket. 40%? That's not a small difference. The power boards are especially problematic. Technicians see capacitor failures constantly. Complete shutdowns after just 2 years of normal use. You're watching the game, and suddenly, black screen, done. Now here's the kicker. When something goes wrong, good luck getting help. Best Buy outsources Insignia support to third-party call centers. The folks answering have scripts, not solutions. Sure, you might save $80 up front, but you'll probably buy a replacement before you would have with a decent brand. But wait, at least Insignia has some quality control. The next brand? They threw quality control out the window entirely. All right. Let's talk about the bargain bin champion, Scepter. You've seen them. That 55-inch TV sitting at Walmart for $200, while everything else costs $350. Tempting, right? Here's the problem. That price isn't magic. It's a warning sign. Scepter saves money by using single-edge LED backlighting. Sounds technical, but basically it means the lights only come from one side of the screen. The result? Dark spots in corners. Uneven brightness that makes half the picture look like someone dimmed it with a dirty window. And the sound. Oh boy, the sound. I actually heard someone describe Scepter speakers as two tin cans having an argument. Harsh? Maybe, but also accurate. Most owners can't understand dialogue without hooking up a sound bar. That's an extra $100 you didn't budget for. Then there's the warranty situation. Scepter gives you 1 year. Most competitors offer 2. And if something breaks, you're shipping that TV back on your own dime. Ever tried mailing a 50-inch screen? It's not cheap, and it's definitely not fun. The smart TV software ages like milk in summer. They use outdated Android builds that lose app support within 18 months. So your smart TV becomes pretty dumb pretty fast. But here's what really gets me. Repair technicians have a nickname for Scepter panels. They call them disposable. Why? Because replacement parts don't exist. When it breaks, you're not fixing it. You're replacing it. That $200 deal suddenly costs you $400 over 3 years. Now, Scepter isn't even the brand that surprised me most on this list. That honor goes to a company that's actually been winning awards lately. Hisense has been everywhere lately. Billboards, sports sponsorships, aggressive YouTube ads promising premium quality at half the price. Sounds amazing, right? Well, here's what those ads conveniently leave out. Their famous ULED technology. It's mostly marketing fluff. Strip away the fancy name and you've got standard LED backlighting with some software tricks layered on top. The real-world result? Motion blur that makes action movies look like they're smearing across your screen. And that Google TV interface they're so proud of? Owners constantly report freezing, random crashes, and apps taking 30 seconds or more just to load. On brand new TVs. Not exactly the smooth experience you'd expect in 2024. Here's something that really got my attention. Hisense has faced multiple class action lawsuits over burn-in issues. We're talking permanent image ghosting showing up way faster than comparable Samsung or LG displays. That's not a minor complaint. That's your screen ruined. The depreciation is brutal, too. Buy a Hisense today. Try selling it in 3 years. Good luck getting anything for it. These things become essentially worthless at trade-in because everyone knows what they're getting. But the thing that bothers me most? Factory calibration is genuinely terrible. You unbox this TV expecting decent colors, and instead you're spending 2 hours watching YouTube tutorials just to make skin tones look human. At that point, how much are you really saving? The budget price tag starts looking less impressive when you factor in the headaches, the potential lawsuits, and the likelihood you'll be shopping again sooner than planned. Speaking of brands that promise value but deliver frustration, TCL might just be the biggest disappointment of all. Now here's where things get tricky. TCL figured out something clever. Partner with Roku. Slap that familiar purple interface on your TV, and suddenly people trust you. Smart move, honestly. That Roku system is genuinely great. Easy to use, reliable. Your grandkids don't need to help you find Netflix. But here's the problem. Roku is just the software. The actual television underneath? That's where TCL cuts every corner possible. Their budget models use VA panels that absolutely hate being watched from an angle. Sit dead center? Fine. Shift 15 degrees to the left? You just lost 60% of your color accuracy. So much for movie night with the family. And the backlight bleeding. Oh boy. There are entire online forums dedicated to helping TCL owners figure out if their light leakage is normal or warranty-worthy. That's not a good sign when customers need support groups just to determine if their TV is broken. The speakers are somehow worse. Hollow. Tinny. Watching the evening news sounds like the anchor is broadcasting from inside a tin can. I actually tested one at a friend's house last year. Couldn't understand a single word until we plugged in a sound bar. Then there's warranty support. You'll chat with automated bots for days before reaching an actual human. By then, you've already bought a replacement out of frustration. The real kicker? Power supply failures. It's their #1 repair issue. And these units love dying right after warranty expiration. Almost like clockwork. Roku deserves better. Your living room deserves better. But TCL isn't even the most concerning brand on this list. Up next, a company that turned your viewing habits into their actual product. Vizio has a dirty little secret. And no, I'm not talking about their picture quality. Back in 2017, they paid $17 million to settle charges with the FTC. Why? They secretly tracked what 11 million customers watched. Every show, every movie, every late-night channel flip. Then they sold that data without telling anyone. Creepy, right? But here's what really gets me. After getting caught, they didn't stop collecting data. They just added a tiny disclaimer buried in their terms of service, the kind nobody reads. See, Vizio figured out something clever. Why fight for razor-thin TV margins when you can make money selling eyeballs? Their entire business model shifted. They now earn more profit from advertising and data sales than from the actual television sitting in your living room. That explains a lot. Ever notice how their SmartCast home screen looks like Times Square? Ads everywhere. Promotions you never asked for. Recommendations based on who knows what they've collected about you. And the software itself? Absolute mess. Updates have broken Chromecast for weeks at a time. Features randomly disappear. My neighbor bought one last year and still can't figure out why his apps crash every other day. Then there's the hardware shortcuts. Many newer models ditched component inputs entirely. Got an old DVD player? A vintage gaming console? Too bad. HDMI only. Internal company documents actually revealed their strategy. Hardware is just the Trojan horse. You're the product now. Your grandkids probably taught you about privacy settings on your phone. But your TV? Nobody thinks to check that. Speaking of brands nobody checks up on, there's one that's even more mysterious. Element is what happens when a TV brand plays musical chairs with its own identity. Seriously, this company has changed hands so many times that nobody really knows who's running the show anymore. And that matters more than you'd think. Here's the problem. Two TVs with the exact same model number might have completely different guts inside. Different panels, different power boards, different everything. It's like ordering a burger and not knowing if you're getting beef or mystery meat. Repair shops? Most of them won't even touch an Element TV. Not because they're lazy, because finding the right replacement parts is like hunting for a needle in a haystack that someone set on fire. And those warranties? Good luck. Previous owners made promises that current owners refuse to keep. Customers get bounced around like ping-pong balls until they give up entirely. The picture quality doesn't hold up either. Independent tests show Element backlights lose 30% of their brightness within 3 years. That's not normal wear and tear. That's planned obsolescence dressed up in a cheap suit. Try calling their customer service. I dare you. Phone lines go straight to voicemail. Email tickets? 2 weeks for someone to even acknowledge you exist. Consumer advocacy groups have actually flagged Element for advertising specs that don't match what shows up at your door. You order steak, you get hamburger helper. My neighbor bought one for his garage. 6 months later, he's using it as a very expensive shelf. But here's the thing. We've spent 7 chapters talking about what to avoid. Now, let's talk about what actually deserves your money. Now, let's talk about a brand that actually deserves your money. Sony has been making television since 1968. That's over 55 years of experience. And here's what separates them from the budget brands we just roasted. They make their own brains. Sony designs and manufactures their own image processing chips in-house. The cognitive processor XR doesn't just crunch numbers. It analyzes scenes the way your actual eyeballs do. Thousands of zones adjusting in real time for contrast, color, and clarity. Budget brands buy generic processors from whoever's cheapest. Sony builds processors specifically for their panels. It's like the difference between a tailored suit and something grabbed off the clearance rack. And the proof shows up in blind tests. Independent reviewers consistently rank Sony at the top for picture quality, sometimes beating TVs that cost twice as much from other manufacturers. But picture quality means nothing if the TV dies in 3 years, right? Sony maintains actual repair centers across America. Real technicians, real parts, real support. You can buy a genuine 4-year extended warranty that someone will actually honor. My buddy had an issue with his Sony last year. Fixed within a week. No runaround, no automated chatbot maze. The Android TV software? Cleanest implementation in the industry. 5 years of guaranteed updates minimum. While those budget smart TVs become dumb TVs after 18 months, Sony keeps rolling out improvements. Professional home theater installers overwhelmingly recommend Sony. Not because of sponsorships. Because the out-of-box calibration is so accurate, they barely need to touch the settings. Less work for them. Better picture for you. Is it cheap? Nope. Is it worth it? Absolutely. But there's one more brand that might actually be better. Now here's where things get really interesting. LG doesn't just make OLED TVs. They make every single large OLED panel on the planet. Every single one. That fancy Sony OLED your neighbor brags about? LG screen inside? The premium Panasonic model selling for $4,000 overseas? Also LG. They own this technology like your grandpa owns his recliner spot. And the technology itself? It's genuinely different. See, regular LED TVs use a backlight shining through pixels, kind of like holding a flashlight behind a stained glass window. OLED pixels create their own light individually. When a pixel needs to be black, it turns completely off. No light leakage, no grayish black that LED owners pretend not to notice. The result is contrast that makes everything else look like it's covered in a thin layer of fog. But what about burn-in? I know you're thinking it. Your buddy probably warned you his plasma TV got ruined back in 2008. Here's the thing. LG's 2023 panels include automatic pixel shifting, screensavers, and panel refresh cycles that reduce burn-in risk by 80% compared to early models. I've had mine for 3 years. 0 issues. And I watch way too much news with those static channel logos. Independent testing shows these panels maintain 95% brightness after 5,000 hours. That's roughly 7 years of normal viewing. The WebOS Smart Platform is shockingly simple too. Big icons, logical menus, voice control that actually understands what you're saying. My father-in-law figured it out in 10 minutes, and this man still prints MapQuest directions. LG backs their OLEDs with 5-year panel warranties, the longest in the industry.